I mean, it was clear to me that the administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believe passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw. Isn't that what you saw?
I saw.
Now, Governor Walz says, I knew nothing about this, man. It's news to me. And he said, in fact, I'm taking some bold steps. He said, at first, I'm not going to run for a third term. I guess he needs more time. Hope he uses the time to prepare his defense, because he's got a lot to defend here. He knew what was going on.
All right, you caught that preview. If that didn't spark something in you, the full exchange definitely will. We're watching John Kennedy deliver a sharp, no-nonsense reality check, cutting straight through the ideological fog that's crept into hearing rooms and college campuses. For too long, self-proclaimed experts have walked in claiming that rising extremism on campus can be solved with bigger budgets and blank checks, as if more taxpayer money magically fixes broken ideas. Watek, it's the same tired script. Spend more, silence critics, and label anyone who dares question it as intolerant. But Kennedy isn't playing along. He calls out the glaring double standards pushed by figures like Ilhan Omar and their academic allies, challenging the narrative with plain logic and unapologetic conviction. He voices what countless Americans are already asking at their dinner tables. When did confusion start passing for principle? But to get ready, this is a masterclass in dismantling a shaky argument with clarity, grit, and fearless common sense. Let's roll the full video.
Ms. Solomon, I want to be sure I understand your testimony. Did I understand you to testify that anti-Semitism is worse under the Trump administration?
Senator, thank you for your question.
You don't have to thank me.
Okay.
Your best thanks is to answer.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you that anti-Semitism has been rising, especially since the 2017
but has the Trump administration caused that? Is that your testimony?
I wouldn't say the Trump administration has caused anti-Semitism. Has there been an increase since Trump has entered office? Yes.
Do you see a causal connection there?
Yes.
Why?
Trump has highlighted and platformed neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
Okay. I can't see that far. I understood you to say that in answer to Senator Durbin's question, the spending reductions, reducing the federal budget would increase anti-Semitism. Isn't that what you said?
No, I did not. I said that the constant threats to cut money to the Office for Civil Rights and the Department of Education prevents the federal government from adequately investigating anti-Semitism and other hate crimes on college campuses.
So you think one way to stop anti-Semitism is to give people more money? Is that right?
I think one of the ways is to actually fund people that are actually designed to investigate anti-Semitism on college campuses.
What's there to investigate? We see it.
We saw
it. Did you watch television? Did you see what happened at Columbia?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear to me that the administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believe passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw. Isn't that what you saw?
I saw.
Isn't that what you saw?
I saw protesters against the war in Gaza and them using some anti-Semitic slogans and thoughts. I would say, however, that it's hard. I would say,
isn't that
however,
what you're telling me?
that
that's not what you saw. Now, don't get off the subject on me now. You're telling me that's not what you saw.
I'm telling you that it is difficult for the federal government to adequately address the issue of anti-Semitism.
Are you telling me the Columbia administration and the faculty was supportive of the Jewish community?
I think that they are trying to find...
You need to stop dipping into your ketamine stash.
Into what? Excuse me?
Now, if we're going to solve this problem, we need to talk about it. And it wasn't just at Columbia. It was at Berkeley. It was at UCLA. It was at Barnard. And Columbia has a history of discriminating against the Jewish people. They used to refuse to let Jewish students come to their university. Now, you can try to bubble wrap this, but that's what I saw. If you want to stop a lot of the anti-Semitism, maybe we need to stop teaching kids to be anti-Semitic.
Sir, I would relish that opportunity.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Kohab. Did I say that right?
Kohav.
Do you think it's possible to feel compassion for the Palestinian people without hating Jews?
Absolutely.
In fact, one of the lawyers representing one of the thieves in this case said many of the people, this was their excuse, said many of the people involved in the stealing thought that the state was okay with it. That's what he said. Here's his quote. No one was doing anything about the red flags. Red flags were everywhere. Nobody in state government, he said, was doing anything about the red flags. It was like someone was stealing money from the cookie jar and they kept refilling it. The state knew. And at one point, Governor Walz and some of his agencies said, whoa, maybe we ought to put a stop to this. And they backed off. They said no more money for a while. Well, fresh hell broke loose. You know what happened? The largest, most powerful, fictitious company, run mostly by people of Somali ancestry, sent an email to the Minnesota state government. And they said that the state agency that was failing to promptly approve new applications and give us new money from, quote, minority-owned businesses, close quote, was going to result in a lawsuit featuring accusations of racism that would be sprawled across the news. If you don't give us our money, we're going to call you racist. They did it. It's all come out in evidence at trial. In fact, a lady by the name of Kesa Megan, she's one of the good guys. She is a Somali American who used to work as a fraud investigator in the Attorney General's office, who, by the way, was just as involved as Governor Walz in turning a blind eye to all this. She says, and she said it in the newspaper, she said that elected officials, and particularly those who are part of the state's Democratic-led administration, were reluctant to take more assertive action in response to the allegations. Why? Here's her quote. There is a perception that forcefully tackling this issue might cause political backlash from the Somali community, which is a core voting bloc for Democrats. And she is among the few among many prominent figures in the Somali community who is speaking out.
Incredible. Truly unbelievable. Did he actually drop that ketamine line? Classic John Kennedy. But beyond the humor, what we just watched should concern everyone. A university professor, someone entrusted with shaping the next generation, seriously implied that rising anti-Semitism on campus is a budgeting problem. Since when does a dip in federal funding flip a switch in a student's conscience? That's not analysis, that's deflection. Instead of confronting the corrosive ideas circulating in lecture halls, certain academics point fingers at the Donald Trump administration, at spending cuts, at anything but their own influence. Then you look at members of the squad, including Ilhan Omar, and the leadership debates unfolding in Minnesota under Tim Walz. Kennedy's argument lands hard. Too many officials seem more worried about upsetting political allies than protecting taxpayer dollars and public trust. We're talking about millions in than public funds. And the excuse is that asking tough questions might appear unkind. That's not compassion. That's avoidance. For years, critics of America have claimed the system is broken. Oh, yet the policies they champion are straining the very institutions they say they value. Just look at unrest at places like Columbia University and University of California, Los Angeles. When inclusion becomes selective and accountability disappears, the message gets muddled fast. Kennedy didn't need a script or consultants. He brought clarity and conviction, challenging an ideology that often dismisses dissent as ignorance. Whether you agreed with every word or not, one thing is certain, the debate is no longer quiet, and the demand for common sense isn't fading. What's your take? Was that comment over the line, or right on target? Share your thoughts below, and if you believe in holding leaders accountable, make sure you're part of the conversation.